suddenly started coming at you, armed to the teeth and ready to kill you.
So that is the question. I've asked this question in videos before, but I don't think most people really get it. Now maybe I should have, started this page off on, or started this off with this, and then had that play. But I didn't do that. But I do want to ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask that question again in my own voice. What would you do if a vicious enemy suddenly started coming at you, armed to the teeth, and ready to kill you? I know the answer to that question for myself because I've faced that. How many of you are ready for what the fuck may be coming? Now, I'm going to try my best not to curse a lot, but I do want to get my point across. We are at war, people. I've been saying this a lot lately in my videos, but I do not believe that our people are paying attention. This is not going to be a short video because I care about my people and I care about what's going on to us and what's happening to us and with us right now. And I have a lot that I want to say. First, I'm going to start off just listing some things that I don't really care about. Excuse me. I don't care about who's in the top 40 rotation on the radio. I don't care about any new music videos that have come out. I don't care about what new artists are out. I don't care about any of that. If they're not saying anything that actually makes sense and is worth listening to, something that I could actually pick up something from, I could care less about it. I don't care about the new Jordans. I don't care about the old Jordans, the retro Jordans. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about going to the club. You understand? I don't care about going to strip clubs. I don't care about talking about alcohol and bragging about how drunk I got last weekend. I don't care about that shit. I don't care about what happened on Who Meets the Browns. Whatever syndicated TV, whatever TV show was on network TV, I don't care about it. You understand? I don't care about the new Colin Kaepernick AF1s, even though they sold out in minutes. I don't care about Popeye's chicken sandwiches. I do not care. I do not care about who's making what money. I do not care about who's talking trash about who. I do not care about who's having sex with whose girlfriend or boyfriend. I do not care about that. I do not care about that. I do not care about immigration. You understand? I do not care about people losing acts, not having the ability to come into America. I do not care about that. I do not care about illegal immigrants being mad because they're being detained and shipped back to their countries. I do not care about that. I do not care about the complaints of Asian people. I do not care about the complaints of white people. I do not care about the complaints of illegal immigrants, period. Latinos, whoever it may be. I do not care about it. I do not care. I do not care about what black celebrities are talking about. I do not care whether they go onto the Revolt Summit and talk this trash. I do not care. I do not care. I do not care. Because the conversation begins and ends with reparations. That's it. I had a conversation with a Hispanic man the other day. Latino man the other day, and politics came up. He was telling me, he's an independent, blah blah blah, Republican, Democrat, yada yada yada, right? So I told him, sure, I could smoke a bag of that. Independent, sure, yeah. So he started asking me about. He asked me about Andrew Yang, is it? Wang Yang, yeah. But I'll tell you why I don't care about any of those things I just rattled off in a moment. He asked me what I thought about that dude. And the first thing I thought about was just giving $1,000 to everybody. First and foremost, it's not going to happen. But even if he was elected president and he got approval from Congress, I still wouldn't give a damn about it because how does that help black people? Most black people are more than $1,000 away from, living in the lap of luxury. You understand? The majority of black people are more than $1,000 away from that. You understand? $1,000 a month means nothing. A presidential candidate who wasn't telling me and my people what you plan on doing for me and my people has nothing to say to me that I am interested in hearing. I don't give a damn what he's talking about. If the conversation is in reparations and how do you plan on delegating those funds in organizations and programs to my people and land, let's talk. But anything short of that, and I don't care. And you know why I don't care? Because anything other than addressing the issues of black people directly is going to go to addressing the issues of white people, white supremacy, or non-black immigrants, white supremacy, and black immigrants from other countries, white supremacy. These are three forms of white supremacy. You got the initial form, white people. You have the kind of soft white supremacy coming from the non-black immigrants that come into the country because they all like to think that they're white because they think they get preferential treatment, and they do over us. And then you have the black immigrants that come over here that are already vetted before they leave their countries. I'm not calling out all my brothers and sisters in the diaspora and saying that you are white supremacists, but the ones who are allowed to come into America do not serve the interests of black Americans, the descendants of American slavery. They do not serve our interests. They don't care about us. They don't give a damn about us. Sure, there are exceptions to every rule, but let's fucking face it. So, the reason why I don't care about those things I just listed, we are at war. White supremacy has been at war with us for over 500 years. They have been at war with us for over 500 years. We can rattle off a list of reasons why, but they've been at war with us. They waged war against us over 500 years ago. And they haven't stopped. And they are only becoming more of a threat to us. While we sit around and claim to be broke and don't want to help support each other or actually fund the campaigns of elected officials or presidential candidates that we actually want to run and actually have our best interests at heart, while we sit back and say we don't have enough money to do that, Popeye's Chicken is making hundreds of millions of dollars off of us in single weekends. Sneakers that come out. Motherfuckers are coming up late on their light bill to buy some fucking part. I know I said I wasn't going to curse that much, so pardon my French. They not paying their light bill so they can get the Colin Kaepernick AF1s. They sold out in minutes. In minutes. These are the things we talk about. These are the things we care about. Cardi B concert comes to your city. It's sold out in minutes. You know what I'm saying? Whoever else is popular and being listened to, the baby, talented cat, sure. He comes to town, show sold out in minutes. You know what I'm saying? We are not focused on what is really important. And our enemy is preparing themselves. I would say, all of you guys out there, if you've never seen the movie American History X, go see the movie American History X because they really do hit it home. I don't remember the exact line out of the movie, but the dude was basically like, he was basically saying that black people in their neighborhoods killing each other. He like, you think you're ready to go into the hood and start killing black people? He like, nah, they get practice every day because they're doing that to themselves. They're ready for this. You're the one that's not ready. So they do what is called hitting soft targets. They hit soft targets. These red dots represent lists of mass shootings in the USA. These red dots list the mass shootings in the United States. This is bananas. This is bananas. And look at the places where you don't see any mass shootings. Places where there are probably little to no black people, quite possibly. But look at this. Look at all of these goddamn red dots. Look at all of these red dots. Mass shootings everywhere. Now, mind you, they aren't just picking non-white people to shoot. Most of these mass shootings happen in white areas, white schools, country music concerts. But look at this. These are what they call soft targets. Now, there are a lot of mass shootings that take place in nightclubs and things like that. Like the one white guy who killed his sister. Now, let me get, because I want to stay on topic here, because I have these images loaded up for a reason. The Revolt Summit, like I said, I don't care about what black entertainers are talking about. And let me be clear. Let me be perfectly clear when I say this. First and foremost, AT&T prevents Revolt Hip Hop Summit. First and foremost, while I was raised on rap, I love rap and hip hop. I really do. Like, I love all types of music, all kinds of music. But rap is usually my go-to. But I don't give a damn what rappers think. If you are a rapper and you're not talking about reparations for black people, there's no conversation. Please shut up. But AT&T is a white supremacist organization. AT&T owns what? MSNBC, CNN, I believe. And we know that these media outlets are for sure white supremacist organizations, corporations. We know this. So, as I've stated before, if mainstream media is allowing it to be aired on the airwaves, corporate America has signed off on it because it is not a threat to them, or it is not something that's going to actually educate and uplift you. This is why it is allowed on TV. This is why it is allowed on TV. Just keep that in mind. So you got all these Negroes up here bloviating on these topics as if they are the people we should be listening to. Now, and this is no diss to any of these cats, because many of these people are very intelligent people. But so what? So what? When it comes to this kind of thing, listen, I'm going to tell you guys who you need to listen to. Some of these are our ancestors. Some of these individuals are our elders who may, in fact, still be alive. But these are the individuals that we need to listen to. Now, I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all, but this is just what I can come at from the top of my head. Booker T. Coleman, his name, he has changed his name to, is it Kaba Kimane? I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Dr. James Smalls, he has some excellent lectures on YouTube. Dr. Runoko Rashidi, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Neely Fuller Jr., Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, Dr. Claude Anderson. I mean, and then there's just dozens and dozens of books to read, tons and tons of books. But those are the names right off the top of my head that I can say. And there's a documentary by the Black Authority, Jason Black, called 7 a.m. and Race Wars. Go see these books. Go see these. Order these documentaries. The Hidden Color series by Tariq Nasheed. Order these documentary series. Order these. They are important. The names that I just rattled off to you guys, these are important figures in our fight against white supremacy. You know, I would even say listen to Dr. Umar Johnson lectures, Dr. Joy DeGruy, Michelle Alexander. Her books have been banned from prisons in this country, basically so black men can't get their hands on them. And I say, Dr. Umar, I know there's controversy with the school, but I don't care about that right now. I'm not talking about the school. I'm talking about the information that this man has for black people. I'm talking about the information now. I'm not talking about the school. Please don't come in the comment section and talk about the fucking school. I'm only talking about the information. Just because, look, people think the school is a scam, okay, I'm not here to argue that. But that doesn't mean that the man's info isn't spot on. And in all of these individuals that I've named, one thing is consistent with all of them, that we are at war with white supremacy. We are at war with white supremacy. Understand that. These individuals here Some of them you may know, some of them you may not know. But who cares who they are? Because if Revolt Summit is being sponsored or presented by AT&T, they're not telling you anything you need to know. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on from this particular subject matter or portion of the subject matter. And I want to talk about conspiracy theories. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the gentleman David Icke. But I used to read David Icke books back in the day, almost 2 decades ago now. I used to read David Icke books. I was really big on this conspiracy theory thing. You know, I was in the grips of it like a lot of us. First and foremost, I want to say there are no conspiracies but white supremacy. Any other conspiracy theory is adjacent to white supremacy in some way, shape, or form. Guarantee it. Be it the system of control that is in place within that system, the individuals who are carrying it out are doing it for the purposes of white supremacy. Now, he has quite a number of books. I've only read I haven't read all of his books. I've read The Biggest Secret. I've read Children of the Matrix. I've read Human Race Get Off Your Knees. The Lion Sleeps No More, which could be talking about us, if you want to look at it that way. And The Truth Shall Set You Free. I've read that one. Let's see. Infinite Love is the Only Truth. Everything else is illusion. I've read this one. Let's see. I Am Free, I Am Me. And I've read this one. I've read Tales from the Time Loop, and I've read Alice in Wonderland, the World Trade Center disaster. Now, many people may say that David Icke is out of his mind, that he's crazy, conspiracy theory, nut, so on and so forth, which all may be true, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't have information that could be invaluable to us. The Biggest Secret, for instance. The Biggest Secret opened my eyes to the nature of the individuals who will put themselves up as our leaders. He exposes a lot of information about world leaders in this book. People thought he was crazy for talking about this. People thought he was nuts for talking about this. But as we can see with people like Jeffrey Epstein, he may not be so crazy, because without his ledger, all the people that would be implicated are some of the people that David Icke implicates in his books. So just keep that in mind. But while I do not believe that there is a reptilian agenda, I do not believe that shape-shifting alien reptiles have commandeered control of the planet and have been, manipulating us from the shadows ever since. Excuse me. I do not believe that, because I have stumbled across a more sinister, devious, dangerous plot. One that is actually tangible, and that is white supremacy. This right here, problem, reaction, solution. This is a phrase that I picked up from David Icke. I'm not saying that he created this, but I picked it up from him. And it fits white supremacy to a T. They create a solution. Then they sit back and create a problem, and then they project what the desired reaction will be to that problem, to make you think you've come to this, make you think you've reacted on that spontaneously. And then when they offer you a solution, you fall right into it. They are controlling the problem from all angles. So I'll just read this. Icke uses the phrase problem, reaction, solution to explain how he believes the Illuminati agenda, white supremacy, advances. According to Icke, the Illuminati guide us in the direction they desire by creating false problems, which allows them to give their desired solution to the problem they created. Now, take this immigration thing for instance. Problem, reaction, solution. Trump runs on a platform when he first starts campaigning of, basically keeping illegal immigrants out of the country and building a wall between Mexico and the U.S. and yada, 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 which inflamed the people in the country. People hated Donald Trump for this, but white supremacists, the Republican Party, Democrat Party, white people love the idea, which is why he was voted in anyway. I mean, this is the guy who said he could walk up to a woman and just grab her by the cooch, and hey, it was all good because I'm rich. Over 70% of white women voted for him, even after he said that. This man has sexual misconduct and rape allegations against him since before he was running for president. Over 70% of white women still voted for him in lieu of that information. So he inflamed and he enrages the immigrant population over here by talking about, you know, all people who come from Latino countries rape and stab people or whatever. The black countries are shithole countries, yada yada yada. So what do we have now in the political climate going into the new year 2020? Now we have immigration that is actually, now they're getting rid of it. They're scrubbing immigration. Illegal immigrants are protected now by the government. If you threaten to call ICE on or immigration on an illegal immigrant, they can sue you for that. They are protected. It is against the law for you to threaten them with deportation. They can have licenses now. They can actually have actual documentation. They can have an identifying card. They can have a license. They can have driver's licenses. And if they get stopped without one, they are not to be detained. They have more rights in this country than black people. Problem, reaction, solution. Donald Trump, white supremacy created the problem. They created the problem. They created the problem, then they created the solution and anticipated the desired reaction. And now we have this immigration issue. Donald Trump was never against immigration. Let that be known. It was just a ploy to get the rest of the people gung-ho about it so that they could serve white supremacy so that they can further undermine black people. So, I continue. He also refers to this process as order out of chaos, right? In 2018, researchers looking at the psychological effects of Ike's belief system urged that problem reaction solution resembles the misinterpretation of the Hegelian thesis, the Hegelian thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel was a German philosopher and an important figure of German idealism. He achieved wide recognition in his day, and while primarily influential within the continental tradition of philosophy, has become increasingly influential in the, analytic tradition, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the triad thesis, antithesis, or antithesis, and synthesis is a progression of three ideas or propositions in which the first idea is followed by a second idea that negates the first idea, and the conflict between the first and second ideas is resolved by the third idea. Triad popularized by Chalibas. Sorry if I said that wrong. Incidents and issues Ike attributes to the Illuminati or global elite include the Oklahoma City bombing, Dublin, Columbine, 9/11, which Ike believes was an inside job to provide an excuse to advance an agenda of regime change across the world. 7/7, global warming, chemtrails, water fluoridation, and the death of Princess Diana, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and Agenda 21. Now, most of these things you'll actually hear some people in the conscious community talk about these things. These incidents allow them to respond in whatever way they intended to act in the first place. This is all white supremacy right here. This is all white supremacy, mind you. One of the methods Ike claims they use is creating fake opposites, or what he calls opposames, such as the Axis and Allied powers of World War II, which he believes were used to provoke the creation of the European Union and the State of Israel. White supremacy hard at work. Ike argues that to ensure the outcome they want, they have to control both sides. We know this about white supremacy. They control the game on both sides, so no matter what the outcome is, they win. He believes that U.S. Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump are part of a false political divide. Yes. Despite the presidency belonging to the Republican Party, then the Democratic Party, then going back to the Republicans, Ike claims they are all pushing the same agenda of regime change in the Middle East, a goal set out in the early 2000s in a document called the Project for the New American Century. Ike claims that this dialectic allows the Illuminati to gradually move societies towards totalitarianism without challenge, and a process he calls the totalitarian tiptoe. This is all white supremacy, basically. Their goal is to control black people across the globe and ultimately eradicate us. See, this is what all of these things are distractions for white supremacy. In Tales from the Time Loop 2003, Ike argues that the Illuminati create religious, racial, ethnic, and sexual division to divide and rule humanity, but believes that the many can only be controlled by the few if they allow themselves to be, and that the power the Illuminati have is the power the people give them. This is white supremacy. This is white supremacy. But it's just being talked about with all these different code words and buzzwords to send you off into another tangent. This is all about, all these conspiracies and conspiracy theories stem from white supremacy. They all but this is how far-reaching it is, though. This dude believes that the elite in the world are trying to gain total control of the entire population of the planet. But white supremacy could be, to a lesser extent, a part of that bigger cabal of things. Who knows? But all I know is white supremacy is the leading conspiracy on this planet. Divide and rule is the bottom line of all dictatorships. Arab is turned against Jew, black against white, right against left. Unplugging from the matrix means refusing to recognize the illusory fault lines. We are all one. I refuse to see a Jew as different from an Arab, vice versa. They're blah, 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 blah. But I just wanted to read that. Problem, reaction, solution. Take that into account. Everything that look, George Bush, Obama, Trump. Everything that they did led to the immigration situation now to further undermine black people. Okay? Now, I want to show you guys images from the Holocaust. This was a very horrific time in the lives of Jewish people. And while the Holocaust was only just several years long, our Holocaust has been lasting for hundreds and hundreds of years. Our people have been tortured and brutalized for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years, our people have been brutalized, tortured, whipped, beaten, tarred and feathered, disemboweled, decapitated. Like, here, look at these images. Look at this man. This man has had his entire scrotum cut out. He looked like he was set on fire. But there's no genitalia there. It was cut off. For my people on the East Coast, if you get a chance to go to Baltimore, go to the Great Blacks and Wax Museum, please. It is a jewel, a diamond in the rough. Please support the Great Blacks and Wax Museum. It is one of the best places I know. And in the basement, they actually warn you before you go into the basement, because the scenes you're going to see in there are very disturbing, but they have a lot of dioramas and articles and newspaper clippings and things like that of Jim Crow segregation and the lynching during Jim Crow, where it is said that more black people were lynched during Jim Crow than during actual slavery, which is hard to believe. Right? They have dioramas of women's vaginal area cut off and put into jars. Men's sexual organs cut off and put into jars. Women's nipples cut off. Women burnt at the stake while they're pregnant and their stomach sliced open so the baby can fall out and burn to death also. Brutal, savage animals these people are. Look at this picture. These people are happy to see this. They're smiling. This is what they are. You see, white supremacy reverses everything. At the turn of the last century, for those of you who don't know, which is the 20th century, at the turn of the 20th century, look at this little white girl. What kind of kid is happy looking at somebody hanging from a fucking rope? What kind of child is that? White supremacy reverses everything. See what they did. Okay, yeah, let me gather myself here. See, they took all of the character traits that are themselves and made negative stereotypes about us. It's a form of projection, right? They projected who they are onto us and then made the world hate us because they told the world that we are what they actually are. Negative stereotypes of us. So all of these negative stereotypes that were basically bootstrapped onto us at the turn of the century, the Ku Klux Klan film, "Birth of a Nation," is pretty much what implanted these ideas into the minds of white people. See, they know what they are, but they're in denial about it. Cognitive dissonance. Dr. Joy DeGruy talks about cognitive dissonance all the time. However, I don't have any peaceful dialogue for anybody who looks at me as an enemy. Sure, we can have a conversation. However, I will be treating you with as much disdain as you treat me and my people with. But in all honesty, I'd rather not converse with anybody who's a white supremacist. I'd rather not deal with them. Not saying that I can't, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not. I will, but I'd rather not. I don't have a problem with it, but I'd rather not. But in any event, white supremacy reverses everything. Texas has pretty much made gun ownership a must for white supremacists in Texas. As we go here to this list of mass shootings in the United States, we see these incidents. Now let's look at this list. Well, we gotta wait for 2020, but look, December, November, October, August, July, May, April, February. There was almost hardly no months that went by where there was not a mass shooting. And, oh man, damn near every single one of these is perpetrated by a white nationalist, some white supremacist racist. Now, white people will say, "Oh, the Ku Klux Klan, their numbers have dropped. They're virtually a non sequitur. They don't even matter." Which doesn't matter. Okay, maybe certain organizations have lost a lot of membership, but they really haven't, because white people realize, well, we don't really need to wear hoods, huh? They don't really need to wear hoods. They wear judges' robes. They wear police blues. That's what they wear. They don't need the hood. They don't need two uniforms. They only need the one. They don't need two of them because they are all on board. Now, before the turn of the last century, the 20th century, white supremacy had I might as well say it, white supremacy had pretty much gotten rid of the Ku Klux Klan. They pretty much gotten rid of them. Oh, one second. They pretty much had gotten rid of the Klan before the turn of the century. However, the thing about it is, how did all these white people across the country come together and decide that they were going to make the Klan more powerful than ever? Because when the Klan re-emerged in the 20th century, the early 20th century, around the time of that movie, Birth of a Nation, they were millions of people strong, men, women, and children. So, they have been on a campaign ever since slavery, and Jim Crow to continue to eradicate us. But this is what you need to see. We're at war. A gunman, a man, a man, a man. They don't tell you who these assholes are. They just tell you it's a man. But we know that these are white boys. We know that these are white supremacists. Now, like I said, maybe not all of them, but the majority of these are white supremacist shootings. We know this. The majority of these people are white supremacists. Let's see. Replace. Doesn't actually say the name. Perpetrator. Let's see. Let me go ahead and look this person up. Black kid. Like I said, some of them, not all of them, but some of them. Most of these are white people, white supremacist nationalists. Most of them. Let's see. Again, look at 2018. Almost not a single month goes by where there is not somebody, where there is no mass shooting. 2017 and on 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 and on. This is crazy. This is insanity. This is insanity. Now, we know that the FBI has stated that white males between a certain age, within a certain age bracket, are most likely to be the ones to commit terrorist acts. They are the greatest threat to American peace and sovereignty. They know this. And yet they do nothing about it except give them more access to weapons. Because they'll say the person is mentally ill. The person. But the person that's white is always mentally ill. Why are there so many mentally ill white people in this country? But that's just automatically the defense. They're mentally ill. They won't make these weapons. They won't limit the access to weapons because white people have got to get their guns. The Second Amendment and all. They've got to get their hands on their guns. At the cost of your life, this is what they have to do. We are at war. We are at war. It is not a game. It is not a joke. These people aren't playing. While my people want to party and say, I can go wherever I want. Can't nobody tell me what I can and can't do. And blah, blah, blah. And I wish somebody would. Listen. These dudes aren't... Man, come on. Oh, here we go right here. Birth of a Nation. Yeah. From Dancers in the... yeah. To Benny. This is the scene from the movie Birth of a Nation. White dude in blackface, basically. But our people like to think that if they ignore white supremacy, then white supremacy isn't real. If you don't acknowledge it, it's not real. If you stay a good Christian and pray to Jesus, and then a white supremacist walks in the church and the first person he shoots and kills is a black person. But as long as you believe in Jesus, you'll be okay. They believe in Jesus just like you. They believe in the same Christian God you believe in. And guess what? They don't give a damn what you believe in. They don't care what you believe in. They don't care if you believe in Jesus. They don't care. Understand that. Interesting. 535 African Americans were lynched in 1867. So, I had to say this. Here's another famous case, Emmett Till, who was brutally beaten and murdered by Carolyn Bryant's her husband and brother-in-law, or something to that effect. Brutally beaten and murdered. This woman admitted to her participation in this violent act. There is no statute of limitations on murder in America, by the way. And she was not immediately whisked away to prison. She was allowed to live the rest of her life until she died. Which means nobody paid for his death. His brutal murder. Nobody paid for it. Martin Luther King, who the man we know was a very peaceful activist who believed in turning of the cheek and so on and so forth. A Christian, just like the white supremacists who murdered him. But they don't care. And they did not care then. And they won't ever care. They won't ever care. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter who you pray to. They're going to try and murder you if they get the opportunity. We are at war. I know there's many of you who don't want to believe it. Nobody wants to prepare themselves to have to actually fight a war. Nobody wants to actually live through these types of things. Listen. If you live in America, if you were born in America, you were born in a war zone. Most of my people come from neighborhoods like I come from. I'm from Baltimore, from a neighborhood called Cherry Hill. Ask anybody in Baltimore about Cherry Hill, and you'll already know what you'll already have a good idea how I grew up. You'll already have a pretty good idea. Most of you come from neighborhoods just like Cherry Hill, to any greater or lesser extent. A lot of you do. But my life has been warfare since day one. I've been groomed for war, for battle. I've been groomed for, because it's all I've ever known. You understand that? It's all I've ever known. You know, I literally, it is so ingrained in me now that when I'm out in public, I literally, my head is constantly on a swivel. I'm never standing still. I'm never just looking in one place. I'm constantly observing and purveying the landscape. I'm constantly observing with my surroundings at all times. I was brought up combat training. You know what I'm saying? I was raised to fight. I was groomed, I should say. I was groomed to be a soldier. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to be that way. I don't want to have to live life like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to. But I used to think that if I left the hood, if I got out of the hood, I wouldn't have to keep my head on the swivel. I wouldn't have to be worried about warfare. I wouldn't have to be worried about constantly having to defend myself and protect myself and have to fight. I wouldn't have to be worried about that. I used to think that until I learned about white supremacy. And then I realized, as long as I exist on this planet with white supremacy, my life will always be warfare. My life will always be warfare. My life will always be warfare. That's something that I've accepted. And in all honesty, I would advise you all to accept it too. Because there is no getting around it. There is no getting away from it. There is no getting away from it. Every white person, every single white person who works in government, like Jeff Sessions who used to, every single white person who works in government in some form or fashion is a white supremacist. Nancy Pelosi, yes. Elizabeth Warren, every single white person. Tom Steyer, every single white person who is, here we go, every single white person, every single one is a white supremacist. Tom Steyer is a billionaire. He addresses black people, right? And he talks about, I know we need to cut the check and, we need to have this conversation. But listen, Tom Steyer doesn't give a damn about black people. Don't be fooled. Don't get caught up with the rope-a-dope. Don't let this white supremacist fool you, okay? Don't let him fool you. When a politician comes at black people, when a rapper, Jay-Z, comes at black people and tell them that this is what we plan on doing for black people. Criminal justice reform and education. You know they're taking a crap on your head. You know that. They're taking a dump on your head. They're pissing on your head and telling you it's raining. Understand that. Understand that. This is what they're doing. Every single white person, Pete Buttigieg, Joe Biden, Mr. Three Strikes. Remember, in the 90s, the Clinton crime bill. This is his running mate. Or not his running mate, but he helped create that crime bill or add to the original crime bill with Bill Clinton. The Three Strikes You Out thing. All that. Joe Biden, yes. Amy Klobuchar, whatever her name is, her ugly ass name, she is a white supremacist. Kamala Harris, why the hell would she be trending? Anyway, all of these people are white supremacists. Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, I talked about him earlier. Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, yes, Donald Trump. All of these people, Beto O'Rourke, all of these people are white supremacists. Don't let the black faces fool you. Deval Patrick, these assholes don't want for you what you want for you. We want reparations. We want tangibles. Understand that? They don't want that for you. None of these people do. Every single one of them, including Marianne Williamson, including her. Every single one of these people are serving the interests of white supremacy. Every single one of them. Bernie Sanders, including Bernie Sanders. Remember, Killer Mike is Bernie Sanders' homeboy. Bernie Sanders doesn't want black people to get reparations. Bernie Sanders is Jewish, isn't he? His people get reparations. They went through their Holocaust for a few years. We went through our Holocaust for hundreds and are still living in it to this day. But we don't deserve what they got. We don't deserve what they got. White supremacy is the key. You see, Andrew Yang, I don't know what Asian race he belongs to, and it doesn't matter. Cause I don't care. He doesn't care about us. I don't give a damn about his ass. But Asian people have been deemed honorary white supremacists, which is why they have such hatred towards you, which is why they're allowed to treat you like crap. Open up stores in your community, restaurants, liquor stores, whatever. Poison the neighborhood, suck all the wealth out, and take it to their own communities. Every single person here is a white supremacist. Remember what David Icke said, problem, reaction, solution. This is the game. I'm not saying that you have to read the book, The Biggest Secret. I read The Biggest Secret, and like I said, what I got from the book was that the world is a really shitty place. Like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I read the book. I didn't even get to the first chapter before I had to put it down for like a couple of days. Like, hold up, this stuff was a little bit too much, a little bit too heavy. I wouldn't say too heavy, it was a little bit too much, like the whole alien thing. But I kept reading it. I got into it. I'm not saying that you have to do it. All I'm saying is there is one and only one conspiracy. And that is white supremacy. If these other conspiracy or conspiracy theories are true to some extent, they are all extensions of white supremacy. Don't ever forget that. They are all extensions of white supremacy. Every single one of them. Everything that happens in this country goes towards the advancement of white supremacy. Celebrities in your midst who are talking to you like you are a stupid child, talking to you like you don't know what you like you don't know what you want. We want tangibles. We want reparations. How many of these celebrities are talking that? How many of these celebrities are talking about putting an end to white supremacy? How many of them are actually talking about fighting and combating white supremacy? How many of them are doing it? How many of these rappers are doing it? Because I listen to dudes like Dead Presidents, and as far as I know, they have not changed their tune so far as speaking out against white supremacy. And most of you never even heard of Dead Presidents. Most of you don't even know who the Dead Prez are. And that's exactly why you don't. Because they spit the shit they want to spit. They talk about what they want to talk about. They talk about white supremacy. They talk about these types of things in their music. And that's why you'll probably never hear of them unless you look them up yourself. But white supremacy is real. We are at war. What would you do? Cause see, most people think most people just inherently think they're tough. Like I know dudes, especially black men. You think you're inherently tough just because you're black. But let's get something straight. You gotta actually go through some shit before you realize who and what you are and what you will and will not do. Before you actually know how tough you really are, you really gotta go through some shit. And most of you nowadays haven't really gone through anything serious. You don't know how tough you are or are not. And just being black doesn't make you tough. You don't necessarily have to be. But don't think you are a gangster. Just your race doesn't make you tough. Understand that. Our race affords us a lot of natural and physical ability and gifts, however you want to call it. But I've seen people make this mistake. You know, you're black, so you're automatically tough. Then you get knocked out. You're from the city, so you're automatically tough, and then you get punked. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that to yourself. Don't play yourself. But in any event, white supremacy is the one and only conspiracy that should matter to black people. The one and only conspiracy. In my opinion, is the only conspiracy that is real. It is the only one that is real. It's the only one that matters. It is the one that directly inhibits us in this world. There is no other conspiracy but white supremacy. It is everywhere. It has invaded the minds and the hearts of people. It has our people so cowardly and cowardice that we don't even acknowledge it. We won't even talk about it. And if you give somebody a big enough check, they'll try to tell you that it doesn't exist. You can't trust individuals like that. You can't trust them. So listen, before I go, I want to say that I don't believe that all is lost. I don't believe that our situation is hopeless. White supremacy is scared. I believe they're scared. They know that they don't have long on this planet, however that comes about. But we already know they have declining birth rates, and they're the oldest population of people on the planet. We know that. We know that their population growth is at zero, on top of already being a global minority. Don't let the smoke and mirrors fool you. They are not a majority of the people on the planet. They control the media, so that's all they show you. So you think everywhere that there is, that they are. Sure, it could be the case, but it doesn't make them the majority. Like, it's when you look at documentaries, wildlife documentaries and documentaries about Africa, you think all Africa is the Serengeti. You don't even realize they have cities just as advanced and some technology more advanced than ours. You would never think that they had cities that look just like ours, communities that look just like ours. You would never think that because you're raised to believe that all Africa is antelopes and lions and fucking dung beetles. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. And elephants and giraffes and shit and hyenas. No. Africa is an entire continent. An entire continent. It is not a one country. It is an entire continent. But I honestly need to understand the mind of my people. What exactly is the problem with us understanding that we are at war? But I want y'all to know, like I said, that it's not over. We haven't lost this fight. We haven't lost the war. We haven't lost. We're losing tons of battles, but we're winning some too. And listen, understand something about white supremacy. Understand this. See, they are lashing out because they know that the tide is changing. And I heard a good video, and this is an older video, but I heard it for the first time myself earlier today from the Black Authority. White supremacy plays dumb. Remember the old saying, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. That's white supremacy. See, white people will always play dumb. Huh? What? Huh? White supremacy? What? They play dumb. They ignore white supremacy. Mental illness. That's cold. That's code for what? This guy was a white supremacist. Look at what he did. He was a white supremacist. But you already know who it is doing the shooting. When the shooting first occurs, if they haven't already put their face and name out there in the public, you already know it's a white person. They always protect their identities so they can scrub their social media platforms. And then they release the information. He was a good kid. I don't know what happened. He had tons of friends in school. And blah. It's the same story over and over again. But be aware. They are panicking. They deny white supremacy because they think that as long as you are confused, then you won't catch on to what's going on. Wait, what? What? No, there's no white supremacy? Really? Nah, dude, there's no white supremacy. I mean, come on. I love black people. Look, we got to stop being so goddamn gullible, man. We have to stop being fools for these people. Seriously. They mean us no good. I used to not want to say that all white people are white supremacists. But I'm going to change that now. I think all white people are white supremacists. I think all white people are white supremacists because, again, where are the coalitions of white people fighting against white supremacy and the eradication of the darker races of people? Where are these organizations of white people who are actually out there putting up an actual concerted effort to stamp out white supremacy so there can be true justice and peace in the world? They're not doing that, and they are not ever going to do that, because if white supremacy goes, then white privilege goes. And no matter how much they want to be your friend, they like thinking they're better than you and having a system that will back their asses up on that. They like that. They like the privilege that they get. They like thinking that they're better than you. They don't know they're better because they know they're not, which is why they project so much garbage. But they like thinking they're better than you, and they're not ever going to change that. Understand that. Understand that. However, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I'm actually getting kind of sick of my people not getting it. We're just not getting it. That's why I rattled off that list of things that I just don't care about. They're distractions. They're distractions. Look, I like a lot of those things that I named that I don't care about. I like a lot of those things. However, they are inconsequential to the fact that we are at war. They are inconsequential. They are inconsequential. We are at war. We are at war. Understand that. This is not a game. This is not a joke. These people mean us harm by any means necessary. They feel their candle about to flicker out, and they will burn the entire house down before they allow their flame to go out completely. They'll set this whole world ablaze before they see the end of themselves on this planet, or the end of white supremacy on this planet. But we need to look at the codes that already exist, because we have codes out there that we need to follow and that we can follow and we can start implementing right now, because they have a code. No, we need a code. Oh, excuse me. Or rather, not that we need one. We have plenty of codes. We just need to actually listen to what our elders and our ancestors have told us, because we're not doing that. Because we are not doing that. So I'll go ahead and leave you guys on that note. But just remember, white supremacy reverses everything. Just think about that for a second. One of these days I will piece together a video about how they reverse everything and the things that they reverse. And I have this, I actually have this Black History DVD set. Black History told about American Africans or enslaved Africans in America, told from the perspective of white supremacists who want to revise history. It's the most horrible thing that I've ever seen. I haven't even watched I didn't even finish watching all of the first disc. Like, I think I got maybe 5-10 minutes into it, and I wanted to vomit. But for you guys, I will watch these DVDs so that I can do a very comprehensive breakdown of the garbage that's in them. But on that note, I'm going to leave you guys. Remember, white supremacy's scared. They're up to their last tricks. What did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say? The last trick of the white man is his woman. The last trick of the white man is his woman and playing dumb. They're going to play dumb. Any white person that talks, listen, if a white person tells you they don't see race, what is white supremacy, and I have a lot of black friends, yeah. And these are just three things. These are just three things. But if they say these things to you, they're fucking white supremacists. Even if they don't know it, they're white supremacists. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could smell them if I was you. You understand? But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go. I've talked enough. I don't know if I'm going to reach any of you with what I'm saying. I don't know if the fact that we are at war is actually going to start to sink in. I really don't know. And if it doesn't, I don't get it and understand why. You know, they say that ignorance is bliss, but only when you can afford to be ignorant. We've been broke for 400 fucking years. We can't afford to be ignorant. It's time to snap out of it, man. Seriously. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up or perish.